Sangye Nyenpa Palden dorsi changwa rigun shabda lama karma ba jinghuru gunjin june sisi bajuru yidam nanjuru ma chenle gunje chebo wanjuru shuchung perchen jamdra nanjuru tseji kuben de don jame duji zhong wan zu chodo jagun wo bema zhong donga songjo tenpa pewe cha chinsi wese jawe nyubu zo techo tenpe jansen so wan de yunde sanje gundang nyam na yang karting sanje le jang hawai sawe lame shabla shasa ne daso rowe lamna chu la chong. Good morning. Good morning. I would like to remind you the Bodhicitta. That's it. And I'm going to read this root text, which is in Tibetan. There's an order transmission. Some of you may not be able to attend it in the past few days. So, as I read every morning, so here I'm going to do it again. Benchen Rinpoche 자세 창조 선반의 루트와 제자와 효소 자가르게도 Bodhisattvamaņyāvalī 베게도 창조 선반의 루트와 투지성보다 차차로 남만남나 차차로 대변하라 차차로 태솜 탐지의 방자신 루블런의 제소자 이무 레로라 방신 다도尊重 배발자 전장 시신 바유배 왕배고남 군두송 인생 되숨 양당양 샘비규라 다발자 다기 녀바 다자신 신지 출바 절매자 다기 윤대 바자신 신지 윤대 다발자 녀당 군대 방자신 캐라다도 방월자 너바 총신 초세는 제라 진도 소월자 잠단 인지 공자신 장주sem네 땜발자 미기 준의 방자신 다도 대바 땜발자 초당 아절 점자신 멤베sem나 땜발자 로베 초와 방자신 최제 초에 초월자 상신 탐제 방자신 파베 노지 잼발자 눈지 탐제 방자신 공발란에 내발자 차게 치남 방자신 다동 안에 동발자 라마 캠보 통해서 구별심으로 제발자 강사 최제 미진당 레당보에 심진라 덤변두시 제발자 심진 탐제 통해서 파만 부진 두시제 디베 초보 방자신 계획신이 님벌자 당당 메디 sem방신 강도 대원 로와자 강랑 차과 방자신 차과 매바 내벌자 차외 된로 메톱진 탈외 소장 저벌시 강도 대외 최동화 대로 따도 매벌자 통말 잠바 강인바 당부르 팅니 두자데 대단난의 군례지 현두니간 루민주 따도 디라 가절베 강도 토베 sem중세 대생아절 짜저신 라면당마 잠벌사 준비 천내 송에서 선제성내对벌사 니가 동바 니도곰 강도 차당 율중세 유마줄과 신도다 민인 세남 퇴배서 작사신도 따와자 류란 너바 중에서 문제 내소 따와자 외대 공바 라네신 르다 시외 로신도 나기 다니 바자신 차범매반 내벌자 다도 이담 땡자신 레로 념내 sem중세 대세 다라 년장신 두수 닝보 템벌자 가대 현다 통해서 시절 송불 나와당 초니는 무슨 방자신 다돈 좀지 내벌자 윤도 현다 통해서 산업 매신 진나가 차도 탐제 방원사 신제선의 송에서 저바 탐제 방자신 다도 수능 템벌자 모감 매진 산루매 다도 추내 투벌자 현라 예바 방자신 구배 추제 내벌자 현라 담아 제베체 인지 편섬 템벌자 다지도 Instruction means, in the Tibetan we call Dhamma, and instruction come from the heart, not from the mouth. So, instruction, in order to give instruction, this master or teacher should be qualified with the full of compassion and loving kindness, in order to get rid of these unfavorable the pain and the suffering of others. So therefore, giving instruction should be performed from the depth of the heart or the depth of the compassion. Mm-hmm. And this shows like the master is very determined to walk with the the student. And during the teaching or during the practice, it's very sure there will be a lot of obstacles, and there will be lot of the hindrances. But regardless these obstacles and the hindrances, and will continuously carry out the teachings and the instructions until the students to fully realize the trueness of mind. This means, as Shantideva said in Bodhisattvamaņyāvalī, and as well as Nagarjuna, I still remember the few words, but although I don't remember exactly the verse, the root text, but it says there, sometimes encounter some misbehavior or misconduct from the student side, and then the teacher and the master feel the restless, might feel that, oh, my teaching is not working with you, or you are not really listening my words and my teachings, and then they deteriorate the power of the compassion and the loving kindness, and maybe this master or teacher intend to give up his job, means discontinue teaching or discontinue work with you. So this is a great obstacle to the bodhisattvas and to the masters. So therefore, that regardless of what situation occur around, but with the full of a determination and the full of a confidence, the full of a compassion, must not disconnect or discontinue, must not discontinue the teachings, instructions, or look after them. So that is the characteristic of the compassion, how to carry on the teachings, instructions unceasingly. Okay, next. Chöla kurwa mendepsing kamyo tela dumbatang. Your ability and your capacity is very important when you do Dharma practice. Does not mean always, oh, this teaching is precious, or this practice is so profound, I must go for this. That's not a good idea. Therefore, the Buddha repeatedly mentioned in the sutras, say that the teaching should be performed according to the capacity of others. Like if your capacity is suitable to the practice of the Theravada practice, then you should follow that. Or if your capacity is enough for the Mahayana practice, well, then you just follow the practice of the Mahayana. So it's very much depends on your interest or personal desire and the personal interest and the personal capacity. Not the case that the teaching is so precious and that this is all for all. So this way the Dharma cannot work with you. So therefore the circumstances need to be considered, and through this then you can make the tremendous benefit from the practice. Obstacle that is occurred from the misunderstand with the Dharma, let's say like the certain practice is not suitable to you because your capacity is not fully ripened. So as the time passes, when you do practice, then you don't feel there is a connection between you and this particular practice. Then you don't experience the benefit from the practice, then you try to slander the Dharma. Oh, this Dharma is not good. I have spent my time with this practice many years, but no benefit is gained. So you try to give up, and you look down this Dharma practice and this practice. So therefore all this unnecessary, the restless mind or mental attitude arises. In order to avoid such a case, one should go accordingly. So which means you should consider your capacity and your ability of the wisdom or your whatsoever. In the Mahayana Uttara Tantra Shastra by Buddha Maitreya towards the end, and mentioned clearly that the slandering the Buddha Dhamma is the most sinful and the most negative deeds that is you accumulated. Of course, let's say you slander the Buddha himself, or the slander the Sanghas, the slander the Dhamma practitioners, compared to your slander the Dharma, is not that as serious as you do others. But slander the Buddha Dhamma is the most sinful and the most heaviest way of your accumulating negativities. So therefore, should avoid the slander the Buddha Dhamma. The Dharma is the teaching that is guarding your mind. The Dharma is the teaching that you reshape or reform your mind. The Dharma is the teaching that helps you transform your negative mental attitude into the positive mental attitude. So therefore, it is the method, like a tool, to work with you to change your mental attitude. So these teachings must go along with your capacity. It's very important. So keep attending teachings, keep attending like ceremonies, or the initiation is kind of a little bit sometimes an edict, and that does not really work with you, so that is not suitable to you. So teaching should be based on your intention and your motivation, your interest. So therefore, the Atisha is a 10. Try to teach us that should follow your capacity, your ability. It's very important. Chuju namju gonene, the next one. Chuju namju gonene, ninsen cheparam bebarcha. I still remember a few days back, I have ever spoken about the no time, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So this topic comes back. Like Potowa, the great master of the Kadampa, the Potowa's main practice is the no time. So I have no time to smile, I have no time to gossip, and I have no time to spread the rumors, and I have no time to entertain you, and I have no time to sleep, I have no time to roaming around. There are so many no time. So why no time? Because life is very short. Life is very short. And this precious human life is obtained, luckily. And now if I lost this precious human life without doing any good things, then no guarantee in the future to re-obtain such precious human life again. There is no guarantor, even the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, no guarantor. So therefore, I want to make very meaningful, precious human life. Therefore, I need to spend my day and the night with the practice. The practice that there is 3 practices, the physical practice, the verbal practice, and the mental practice. Among these 3, the most severe and the most meaningful is the mental practice. So therefore, Atisha says, the day and the night, that regardless whatsoever, I will spend my full time with the practice. And the Shantidevas in the Bodhisattva Avatara, he says, I will quickly stand up if the snake come into my lap. Maybe some of you brave, maybe will not stand up, but me, yes, I will definitely. So anyway, maybe sometimes the example is not for all, but definitely to me. So therefore, it's suitable to me to bring up this the example. So when snake came into my lap, I will quickly stand up. Likewise, if any sleep or laziness occurs, then he says, I shall swiftly turn it back. That's very important. Okay. As I said earlier, why so important that I should spend my time day and night with the practice? Because Kadampa masters are concerned, or they have confirmed that the mental delusive, the delusive mind or delusive mental attitude is very difficult to get rid of, because we are very lazy. And from life to life, from life to life, and we have been very lazy all the time. And although we do experience and we do know these miseries, pain, and the sufferings are unwanted circumstances, yet we enjoy. But deep in the heart and deep inside the mind, of course, you still feel the power of the pain and the suffering, which is really that you don't want. So to get rid of these unwanted circumstances, it takes time. So you need to put very much effort into the practice, like great Mahasiddhas and like Milarepa, Jawa Gotsangpa. You can read the life story of those great masters and how much their time and the effort put it into the practice in order to be achieved their practice. So therefore, life is very short, and the life is very uncertain. Uncertainty of life is always there. We die, we lost this life under any circumstances, not necessary to be sick with an incurable disease. We are very healthy and say good night, sleep, but morning is a completely goodbye. So you cannot wake up. Likewise, there are many circumstances that you really die unexpectedly. So therefore, we have to be very diligent and give up the sleep, the laziness, and all these so-called the disturbances. Need to be very wise, need to be very active with your practice to win from the battle of to be won the battle with these the suffering and the pain miseries. So dedication is very important. In the practice of Mahayana, we call three nobles, or the preciousnesses. The first one is the taking refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. Excuse me. And second is the generating bodhicitta. Then the last one is the dedication. Mm-hmm. And in order to do dedication, the verbally chanting is not that important. Each and every session towards the end we do dedication with the prayer of the Amitabha, Emaho, Ngasa Sangye. So this is a very common tradition that everybody does it. But most important dedication you can perform from the heart. It's very important. And if you dedicate your merits towards all sentient beings, then you have made very meaningful your practice. As otherwise, if you miss or fail to dedicate that merits, then every performance of the practices you have made are just wasted. From the Mahayana point of view, so therefore you put too much effort into the practice, you have spent the time with your practice, so make it useful or make it meaningful of your practice by the dedicating the merits toward the sentient beings. So therefore, dedication is needed. And the reason is because you are trying to benefit and help sentient beings. because you are being so compassionate, and you tend to accept every situation that occurs, whether it's really pleasant or unpleasant for you, but you really do accept as an object of your practice. And it doesn't really make restless your mind, because you compare to all sentient beings, my suffering is much less, because I'm a single, and number-wise, the others are much huge. So, and the characteristic of the suffering and the pain itself, the mind is much less, because there is much more and much larger. So, all sentient beings really tend to liberate themselves from the suffering, but they fail to recognize the cause of the suffering and the pain. So therefore, they spend too much time the practice for the purpose of eliminating suffering and the pain itself, but they are still within the cause of the suffering and the pain, which is our ego and the ignorance. So as long as the power of the ego or the power of the ignorance is there, then there is afflictive emotion. As long as there is afflictive emotion, this causes the karmic action. So as long as there is a karmic action, there is a rebirth in the samsara. Then there is a rebirth in the samsara, then you accumulate it again. So there is no way to get out of this. So therefore we call this as a cyclic existence, one after another. So there you cannot get out of this suffering and the samsara. So you're being so compassionate, therefore each and every the merit or the practice that you have accumulated, you are joyfully and willingly to dedicate those sentient beings. So the purpose is very profound. And as well as the dedication helps to multiply the power of the merit. We look for omniscient state of Buddhahood. Therefore, Tibetan in teaching it says changchub means the great Bodhi. The great Bodhi is the ultimate enlightenment. And in order to get to the ultimate enlightenment, then need to abide or sustain the power of our merit, because this is the one who lead us to the great Bodhi. So, and we need also multiply the power of the merit and the power of the practice. So therefore, the dedication helps us to multiply each and every merit that you have accumulated. Mm-hmm. Therefore, the next word here, sonam simjin namna dar. All right. Tado yena dumbai manam chenpo dabracha. The prostration, offering, the confession, rejoicement, then the requesting, the turning the wheel of Dhamma, and requesting live long life, and dedication. Mm-hmm. Making prayer is very important. Although naturally our mind is never disturbed, never diluted by so-called these afflictive emotion. Yes, seemingly yes, our mental mind is diluted, our mind is obscured. Therefore we make mistake physically, verbally, mentally. But the Buddha says, well, Buddha does not blame you, but rather blame the mental negative attitude itself. So naturally our mind is very pure. It's never disturbed by those so-called the disturbing emotions. But that's not enough, that's not sufficient. So therefore, in order to achieve our practice, with the study, contemplation, meditation, whatsoever we do, and need to be achieved our practice. So in order to achieve practice, then the prayer is need to be done. So prayer. Therefore, like the prayer of this oracle, King of Prayer, by Bodhisattva Samantabhadra. And so each and every verses when you read these, the King of the Prayer is very meaningful, and it's very touching, and of course, very the blessed. So therefore, in our practice, everyday life, making prayer along with the study, along with the contemplation, along with the meditation, is going to be much more powerful for practice to be achieved. And to me, as I think I did say it a few days back, because we talk about the blessing, blessing. So Kara Gomchung says, the Kadampa master Kara Gomchung, he said, the best blessing is our own mind. There is no blessing, something solidly existed separately from our own mind. There is no blessing out somewhere there other than your own mind. With this perspective, what I sense is because the blessing is something that is come from your mind of the purity, like a genuine compassion and a genuine loving kindness, and then the fully development of the wisdom. As long as you are absolutely able to catch yourself, or seeing your own truth, or the true nature of mind, then the blessing never ceased. And the blessing that is very helpful for yourself, and the blessing that is very helpful for others. Otherwise, the blessing like from the powerful mantra, the blessing that is from like a temporary, the means and the method, is very limited. It helps, but this blessing will not lead you to the absolute truth. So in order to realize my own true nature, and one has to be very honest with yourself, then perform any Dhamma practices accordingly, and each and every manner with the body, speech, and mind do accordingly, then the blessing is there. That's what Kara Gomchung says. So this blessing lasts forever. And this blessing will lead you to the Buddhahood. This blessing be able to help all sentient beings. So therefore, such blessing is like the bodhicitta, true compassion, true loving kindness, and a true dedication. So that is the blessing. And when you make a prayer, it's not like something that may I be long life, or may I be healthy, may all sentient beings be healthy. Of course, this is a part of a prayer, but here we are talking about essential prayer, most profound prayer, that is something that I wish and I intend and I will sentient beings approach to the right direction. Like Shantideva says in his Bodhisattvamaņyāvalī, the chapter of the dedication, he said, may all sentient beings be able to enter into the way of Bodhisattva life. Through that, I have composed this, the Bodhisattvamaņyāvalī. So he dedicate his teaching of the Bodhisattvamaņyāvalī for all sentient beings, that be able to bring them or make them to enter into the way of the Bodhisattva's life. So it is so profound. And the Milarepa says as also, he said, I have gone through my life the hardship, the difficulties, and a very looks seemingly very miserable life, because is kind of really torturing his life by his masters. But the dedication from this, his hard work, his the difficulties of the life dedicated towards all sentient beings, he said that in the future, because of my hard work, be able to help sentient beings to bring their mind into the Dharma. May all sentient beings' practice be able to be successful. May obstacles and the hindrance to remove away. So the sense of the prayer or sense of the dedication is the wish and the will to bring all sentient beings' mind into the Dharma. So this is very profound. Not really always say, oh, may always be enlightened. All sentient beings be enlightened. It's very difficult to be enlightened, very difficult without approaching to right direction and apply all the practices accordingly. There's no way to be enlightened that easily. So therefore, the dedication is very simple and the blessed that wish you that become a good practitioner. Wish that your mind enter into the Dharma. So that is the what we call the sense or the characteristic of the prayer. Mm-hmm. And also, if you keep doing the prayers based on bodhicitta and compassion, the genuine prayer, if you do this time, then once you are enlightened, then after enlightenment, then the activities that come out spontaneously, effortlessly. And now, because with the effort you try to walk with the sentient beings, but that your capacity or the power or the strength of the activity is very limited. You cannot overwhelm, but after enlightenment, then all the activities, because of the power of the prayer that you have done, so now as a result, the activities to benefit sentient beings will come out naturally, effortlessly. So this is the interesting way how to, or the purpose of why we are making prayer. Two accumulations. Is it two merit?
Accumulations.
Two accumulations. Mm-hmm. I'm not so familiar with the English, so therefore I often make mistake. So two accumulations, the accumulation of the merit and the accumulation of the wisdom. What is accumulation of a merit? The Tibetan call sonamtsok. That accumulation is as long as it's not associated with the wisdom, then simply doing the virtues by any virtuous action that you performed by body, speech, and mind is we consider as the sonamtsok only. It's the accumulation of a merit only. And once you are able to associate or mingle with the wisdom, inseparability of this virtue and the wisdom, then we consider this is the accumulation of the wisdom. Mm-hmm. And the leading your practice to the bodhi or the enlightenment is the accumulation of wisdom. By accumulation of merit alone, of course, this provides you like long life, the good life, enjoyment, and all etc. Can be provided by the accumulation of a merit alone, but this will not lead you to the omniscient state of Buddhahood. Just only sonam or the merit. But by wisdom, because of the wisdom is a direct the contradict to the ego. Ego is the one who trap you in this samsara, not let you be free. So there's no direct contradict between like a bodhicitta compassion, loving kindness, and the ego. So in order to cut or uproot this ego, then one has to apply the wisdom. Because of the power of the wisdom, and then all the rest of the virtues or all the rest of the merit are kind of transformed into the wisdom, so that helps you to cut the root of the samsara and lead you directly to the enlightenment. So therefore most powerful is the accumulation of the wisdom. So if you do that, then eventually, gradually, of course by applying the wisdom the profoundly, then can be ceased these two obscurations. And because of this, then you have made a very meaningful, the precious human life. Because then you have achieved the omniscient state of Buddhahood, which is the absolute Bodhi. The important significance of the Dharma practice, we must be very aware of the potential, the Buddha nature. Of course, we all do have equally, and does not make differences between the genders, between the lifestyle. It doesn't make differences between a human being and the animal lives. It really doesn't matter. As long as you are a sentient being, then the Buddha nature or our natural potential is there. But this is not the only case. Cannot say that, oh, I have a Buddha nature, so I will be enlightened. It's not the case. The case here is the precious human life is very important, that we need to be considered. And that one is we obtained already. So now our option is whether you waste this precious human life or you really want to make a meaningful precious human life. That is our option. Yeah? So therefore, the Atisha, the great master Atisha, if you really wish to be enlightened, then one should make precious human life very meaningful. How? We must recognize or identify our potential and the Buddha nature. Because of this, one can practice study, one can apply contemplation, one can apply meditation. These three only the way that they help you to get out of this samsara. The study, contemplation, meditation. So if you do not work with these, simply you feel contained with the potential, the Buddha nature would not be sufficient, not be workable at all. So therefore now we need to wake up our mind completely as Bodhisattva. I forgot now. Bodhisattva what? Shantideva. Yes. Shantideva says, should wake up. Now we should wake up. Forget all the negative things and try to wake up and pick up the good things and change your lifestyle. Think that, okay, the English says bygone is bygone. It's gone. Now you move forward to make your life meaningful. So if you do that, then the potential will be ripening because of the way of thinking. So that helps you to reveal your potential so that way you can walk with your practice. So if you do that, then here it says you have made the meaningful life. Then this will lead to the Buddhahood. So what I'm trying to tell you is because these past few days I have been taught this precious teaching from the Atisha, and at least I myself believe that I have done quite a good job, because as His Holiness Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, when I received this kind of teachings long time back, And not only to me, but he spread his advice to all his students so that in the future, if you are able to spread this such a precious teachings, and that's going to be the best, the long life prayer for him, that I still remember, and I will remember always. So therefore, it's that because we always try to fulfill the wishes of the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, the great masters in India and in Tibet. So the best way of making offering is you value such teaching. That's very important, to value. We all have obstacles. Of course, we cannot deny, because we are still in the samsara. We have obstacles, we have unwanted circumstances, but bring them as an object for your practice. And we really listen their teachings, such a precious teachings, and we apply them within, not really the verbally reciting few verses or the memorize the root text and just chant it. That's not enough. So bring it into the heart and make really meaningful this teaching. Then it is the best offering, the best supplication, the best prayer, and this way fulfill their wishes, and this way to fulfill the wishes of all sentient beings, and good for my life, this life, and good for the next lives. So this is the best way to apply such wonderful teaching. As Kara Gomshung says, I recite this in Tibetan. Lone drondo macho na jije choson roa me drondo chebe kebala jingen choso chawayin, which means if your mind is still very uncertain with your Dhamma practice, then whatever you do practice, it is not Dhamma practice, he says. Very clear, yeah, and very beautiful. So therefore, need to be very certain and very determined with your practice to accept everything as it is. So he said that as long as your mind is very uncertain and no determination with your practice, then whatever practice you do is not Dharma practice. As once you are very determined, once your mind is very certain with your practice, then every obstacle, every hindrance that become the supporter for your practice. Wonderful. Yes. I think it's wonderful for me. I don't know for you. I hope it is wonderful too. All right.